Okay, so let's begin. We will start in our Shavasana position. Go ahead and lay flat down on your mat. We'll lay on our back and just start with some nice, easy breathing, beginning with that relaxation. And as we lay down, just take your time. You might notice that you've got some fidgets in your neck or shoulders, or maybe your head feels out of alignment. I don't want you to ignore that. I want you to pay attention to it. So laying down on our back, making sure that you're happy with, the volume that you can hear me, the lights in the room. If you're cold, grab a blanket or put a sweater on. These are all things you want to make sure you're thinking about at the beginning of our practice so that during our practice we can be really comfortable. Today is going to be a relaxing flow style class. We'll try to stretch through every muscle of our body, but we'll stay mostly grounded on the mat. Now, as we're laying here, just rolling those shoulders down. We can bring those arms out flat, just have the palms facing up to the ground or up to the ceiling. Notice if your head is twisted or tilted, like I mentioned, try to get the flat part of our head on the ground, nose pointing straight up. Just working on some alignment, becoming more aware of that. And as we continue to lay on the ground, I want you to pay attention to your breathing now. So you'll notice that as we inhale, your stomach is going to rise up towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, you'll feel like your stomach melts down into the floor. Allow that to happen. And what this does, paying attention to these deep breaths, is it just cleans up the clutter in our brains. All of that chaos, all that running around, just simplifies everything, gives us more space, helps slow down our heart rate so that we can really relax and calm down. As we continue to lay here, I want you to all take your arms up over your head, big stretch. You can even interlace your fingers if you want. Maybe your hands touch the floor above your head, or maybe they don't. Maybe you feel like kind of stretching right and left. You can do that too if you'd like. Let those ribs really open up as we lay here. And then take one more big inhale. And exhale, release those arms down. Good. Now let's get ready to pull those knees into our chest. So you can draw the knees in, give yourself a nice big hug, holding on to the shins or the thighs, and just start rocking right to left. Now you might be feeling some pinching in the front of your hips. That's okay. It's good to notice. You might be feeling some stretch in your back. I want you to keep a hold of your knees and just start rolling through those feet, the toes, the ankles. All right, let's stretch one leg at a time. Keeping a hold of the right knee, we lower that left leg all the way down to the ground. Pull the right knee open and out towards that right shoulder. We'll feel a stretch coming across the hips. Now, I really want you to think about your posture right now. Are your shoulders touching the ground? Is your head still flat on the floor? Drawing the knee over towards your left shoulder. Try to keep squeezing the leg in towards the belly. Let's come through the middle and lower that leg down. We'll repeat on the other side. Drawing the left knee in. Open that knee out towards the left shoulder. Pressing that right leg straight down into the ground so that we can stretch across our hips. And I want you to notice, check in, and find out how this stretch feels today. We'll bring the knee over towards the right shoulder. Really important to take those x-rays of your body during yoga. It tells us how we're feeling. How are our muscles today? How do our bones feel, our joints? Coming through the middle and lower down. Good, let's take our feet flat on the floor. We're going to go through a few glute bridges just to stretch through the back and make sure that our hips are working properly. We'll bring our arms down by our sides. Let's inhale, lift our hips up, resting on our shoulders, and exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, lift. We want to activate our glutes, keep our feet flat on the floor. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the hips up. And exhale, slowly lower. We'll do one more of these. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. And now we're going to leave our legs on the ground. I want you to bring your arms straight to the ceiling. Now with your arms straight up, we'll take our right hand and bring it over our head and bring our left hand down to the floor. And now we're going to scissor them. So we bring our left arm overhead, right hand down. Our big inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale in the middle. Exhale, release. Inhale, middle, working through those tired shoulders. Exhale, release. Inhale, middle. Exhale, release. Inhale, one more each side. Exhale, release. And inhale, middle. Exhale, release. Let's come up to the middle and now hold it, but turn your palms in so that they're facing each other. Now, big inhale, open those arms out to the side. Oh, big stretch. And then exhale, squeeze them back up to the middle. Inhale, open. Exhale, now don't let our arms become noodles or fall. Control as we inhale, open. Don't let them bang or slop on the floor. And then exhale, slow. So no high fives here, just slow. Inhale, open. Exhale, in, and we'll do one more. Inhale, open. Exhale, in. Good, now we're going to open those arms all the way out again, but this time have our palms face the floor. Getting ready for spinal twist, but we'll do a little warm up and we'll come into our windshield wipers first. Taking the knees at 90 degrees. Squeeze your belly. This is great to make sure all of this is working right now. Squeeze nice and tight. Now let's take a big inhale in the middle and exhale, lower towards the right. You don't have to go very far. Inhale up to the middle. Exhale to the left. Inhale, middle. Exhale, right. Keep those shoulders glued to the floor. Inhale, middle. Exhale, left. Inhale, middle. Exhale, right. Inhale, middle. Last time, exhale, left. And we'll take the knees up, hold it here, and then drop both feet down to the floor gently. Straightening the legs out all the way, getting ready for that spinal twist. We'll take our right knee up to start. It's about 90 degrees. Lower all the way over to the left side. And keeping those shoulders down on the ground, let's look over that right arm. Big stretch across that right shoulder into the chest. Lifting the knee up and lower down. We'll take the left knee up, lower over to the right. And we can look over that left arm. Good, let's lift the knee up and release down. You can take the feet flat on the floor. And now what I'd like us to do is come through a little bit of a hip stretching series. So we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee into our figure four. And whew, my goodness, my hip is tight this morning. So maybe we just rest here. You could push the knee away if that helps. Or if anyone needs more, we thread those hands underneath that left thigh. Just watch your shoulders. Let's try to keep those down. I've been noticing lots of tense and tight shoulders this week. So let's keep our shoulders relaxing to the ground as we try to press that right knee away from the body. And just think about what's happening in our right hip right now. Does it feel sore? Does it feel tight? Are we holding our breath? Don't hold your breath. Let's breathe slowly in and breathe slowly out. Good, and let's release both feet to the ground. From here, before we switch to the other side, let's do a few butterfly wings. Okay, so just flap your butterfly just a couple of times. All right, and let's get ready to repeat figure four with the left. So we'll cross that other ankle over. You can gently push the knee away. Maybe we thread the hands through. Relax those shoulders. And however you're holding it on this side, again, let's just notice what's happening in our left hip. And I know we're going a little bit slow today, so if you find that your mind is wandering, if you're feeling very fidgety, just do your best whenever you remember to enjoy being relaxed and enjoy the slowness of the movement. I know it can be hard sometimes. Now let's release both legs down, a couple more butterfly flops, and then we're going to hold our butterfly. So lower those knees. Try to have your feet glued together. You can rest your hands on your belly. You can have them out to the side. We'll take a couple big belly breaths here. Now, slowly, we're going to take our hands to the outsides of our legs, helping the knees in. Let's give ourselves another big hug. And then we're going to rock and roll up to sitting. Very good. Now, at this point, as we're sitting here, if you'd like to grab a drink before we continue on, please feel free to do that. You can take a drink whenever you want to. I'm also going to remove my socks at this point if you'd like to do the same. Otherwise, you can keep your socks on as long as you have lots of grip. All right, from here, what I'd like us to do is take our leg straight out in front of us. So we're sitting really tall and staff. And we might already be feeling a stretch behind our knees, just sitting upright like this. What we'll take first is our forward fold with both legs together. Big inhale. And now exhale, reach over those legs. As soon as you feel a stretch, you just relax your arms, maybe even relax your head. You might feel a slight stretch through the neck, maybe in the back, maybe it's all of the knees. Now we're still at the beginning of our yoga practice. So if you need to stay a little bit higher, that's okay. We'll do this again at the end. Now we'll slowly come up and we'll get into a little bit of a dynamic warm-up with a mermaid stretch. I want everyone to tuck your feet over to the right. If that hurts anyone's knees, you can keep your legs out straight and staff. So as our feet are tucked over to the right, let's hold that right ankle to start. With your left arm, big inhale, lift up. And exhale, reach. Now inhale, we're going to switch arms. Exhale over to the left. Inhale, lift. We'll do this 3 times. Exhale, reach, big side stretch. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach, and we have one more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, big reach. Now take your time coming up. You can swing your legs forward or sweep them under. Sitting up so nice and tall. Good posture always. Make sure we're aware of our core. We can start by holding on to that left ankle. Now with your right hand, big inhale. And exhale, reach. Inhale, lift up. And exhale. Inhale, lift. Feels so good to get long and tall. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. And inhale. Exhale, last time like this. And inhale, up. Exhale, last stretch. Good, and we can come back up. Take your time, and we're actually going to flip over onto hands and knees now. So we can come into our tabletop position. You can bring your hands right underneath your shoulders, knees right underneath your hips. Make sure your belly's pulled in nice and tight, and keeping your neck long. Finding our cats and cows. Let's inhale, open the chest, look forward. And exhale, tuck your tailbone, pull your belly in, round your back. Inhale, open, cow. Exhale, round, cat. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. We'll do one more of each. Inhale, open. And exhale, round. Good, staying in tabletop, nice and straight. Let's come into our thread the needle. Starting with your right arm. Big inhale, lift tall. Exhale, thread underneath the left. As we lay into that right shoulder, you can reach your left arm forward or up above the head. Just take a few nice big breaths here. Now what we're going to do is come up through the middle. And before we repeat that on the left, I want us to send our right leg out to the side. So we just stretched our right arm, working through the right shoulder. Now let's stretch the right leg, working through the right hip. Coming into this half froggy position, you can curl those left toes and then sit back into the hips a little bit. What I love about this stretch is it's targeting through that inside of your right leg. You might have to adjust your feet just so. I like to keep my foot flat, but you could also bring your toe up if you wanted to. And now if you need an extra, we can come down onto our elbows. Again, I'll remind everyone just to try your best at staying focused, staying slow, working on our breathing. And then we can slowly bring our knees back up. And before we do the left side, let's come back into a child pose. Sit back into those hips. We can reach our arms forward and take a couple big breaths. All right, now slowly come back up into table. Let's repeat, starting with the thread the needle first. So nice big inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, thread all the way underlaying into that left ear, reaching the right arm forward or up above. And there's no right way to do this. It's just what feels better, what's working better with your body. And that can change every time we come into our yoga practice. Good, let's slip up, tabletop position. We'll get ready for that inner thigh stretch, bringing that left leg out to the side. You can curl those right toes and then send your weight back into your hips and come down onto your elbows. Let me just turn to the side so you can see this a bit better. There we go. Now from our half frog stretch, we'll slowly bring our knees back in, finding that table, and then press back into another child's pose. We can sit our hips back, reach our arms forward, and relax our head. And now this time while we're in child's, we'll go through that side stretch, walking our hands to the right, placing that left hand on top, and then pull back into that left hip. And again, let's take that body scan. Are we feeling this mostly in the hip, the shoulder, maybe the side of our body or into the arm? Just notice that. Normally where we feel it most today is where we might need more focus, more attention. Now we'll walk our hands across through the middle to the left side and sit back into that right hip. Now let's come through the middle. We'll come up into tabletop again, getting ready for our runner's lunge series. So we'll turn to the front. We can take our right hand or right foot up between the hands. When you're ready, or if you're ready, you can take your hands up, make sure that your hips are level. So if you had those dots on your hips, they're not twisted or tilted. Try to draw a straight line across. Shift the hips forward to get a really nice stretch at that left side. And then bring those arms up if you can. All right, let's all relax those shoulders. I know I mentioned already today that our shoulders are just, we seem to all just have a little extra weight that we're carrying in our shoulders. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's muscle tightness. So let's just be aware of bringing that down. And we'll add our tricep stretch. So we'll bend that left elbow. You can hold it with your other hand just to make sure the elbow's staying in place. Keep your bellies in for balance. Keep your chin off your chest. Beautiful long necks always. I'll hold this for a little bit. All right, slowly release our arms to our hips. Straighten out your front leg. We're going to come into that hamstring calf stretch. So keeping your body super straight, let's start to hinge from our hip. You can have a little bit of a bend in that knee. Now holding that stretch. Breathe. This is where sometimes we forget and we hold our breath. We want to really practice that exhale. Trying to relax into the stretch. Now, depending on, how tight your muscles are, what you've been doing this week, or how cold you are right now, this may feel a little bit harder than usual. Or maybe you're really warmed up and you have a lot of extra room. It's good to pay attention to all of these different stretches, see how we're feeling. Now from here, what we're going to do is bend forward into that right knee. Our hands are on the ground, getting ready for that seated cross-legged twist. So keeping your hands on the ground, keeping your right foot where it is. I want you to slide your left leg underneath and then sit on your left bum, and then just take your left arm and hug it. Now, if you can try to get your full bum on the ground, sit up really tall, pull those shoulders back, look over that right shoulder. You might feel a really nice stretch through not only the shoulders, but also that right hip. All right, and coming from our seated cross-legged twist, I want us to rotate forward. We can just sweep those legs around back, and we'll come back up into tabletop. Getting ready to repeat the runner's lunge. Now with that left leg coming forward, you can keep your hands on the ground or you can bring them up. Again, I like spending that extra time looking at our hips. Are they level? Sending our hips forward, getting a big pull from that right hip, and then lift those arms up. If our shoulders have come up, just draw those shoulders down so the zipper comes all the way. And we'll stretch into that right tricep. Bend your right arm. Make sure that that elbow is staying up. So now we're stretching the whole right side. Keep your chin up. Take a couple big breaths. So in our runner's lunge, we're also working in a lunge position, which is great for balance. So make sure that you can wiggle those toes so you feel your weight mostly in that heel. Take one more big inhale here. Now release the hands to our hips. Straightening out that leg, we'll come into that calf and hamstring stretch. Slowly start to hinge. I know this one can be tricky for balance. Now this leg feels much tighter for me, so I'm gonna have to stay up higher. You might be able to bring your hands and touch the floor. If you have a yoga block, you can have your yoga blocks and you can hold on to those. Just really working on listening to your body, only going as far as we feel that slight discomfort. You feel the pull, but it's not hurting you. You can keep breathing normally. Getting ready for our seated cross-legged twist. We'll start to come upright and bend forward into that left knee. Hands come to the floor. Keeping your left foot where it is, we tuck that right knee underneath. We're sitting down on our bum, and then give your leg a hug as you look over your left shoulder. Good. Now I feel this mostly in my left hip. Some of you might feel it more through your backs. Very good. Let's slowly rotate forward. Sweep those legs around. We're going to come back into child's pose again. See if we can get just a little bit lower in our hips, a little bit stretchier with our arms. Getting ready for our downward facing dog. If you'd rather stay in child's pose, remember that's always an option. Otherwise, you can join me up and down dog, lifting those hips up nice and high, making sure your hands are about shoulder width distance apart. Spread those fingers, and then let's start pedaling through our feet. Good. How does that feel on our feet? How does it feel on our calf muscles, right behind the ankle up into the back of the knee? Now I want you to try to press both feet down into the floor. Get your heels as close to the ground as they can. Maybe there's still, a whole pineapple away. Or maybe it's more like a grape. For me, I get my heels all the way down, but that takes some practice. Now we'll come into our beautiful pigeon stretch. So I want us to take our right foot, kick it all the way high, and then kick it all the way up and through. So our right foot comes to our left hand, our knee comes to our right hand. And then as we sit here, we're just going to send that back leg as far back as it'll go. And we can come down all the way onto our elbows if that's comfortable, or maybe even rest our head on our fists. What I want us to notice is that if we were to place a serving tray with a cup of tea on our back, we would be able to balance it. We're not falling into our right hip. We're really balanced between both right and left sides. And we're feeling a really nice stretch in the outside of that right hip up into our back. Slowly taking our hands up onto the floor. We'll come back into down dog or child's pose. Now, what's wonderful about yoga, there's so many things, but what's really wonderful is that in down dog right now, you could choose to be holding it still. You could choose to wiggle or to walk the dog, or you could be in child's pose. So there's so many options. I want you to really pay attention to whatever pose serves you best right now. Now let's get ready for that left side in pigeon. So you can take that left leg all the way up and then kick it forward. So the foot comes to the right hand, the knee comes to the left hand. We send that back leg straight back. You can even check that it's lining up with the side of your mat and you're on your shoelaces of your front or top of your foot. And we can come all the way down onto our elbows. And even down onto your fists if you wanted to. Checking that your serving tray with your teacups is balanced. Our left hip is feeling a nice stretch. And we're breathing deeply. Now slowly bringing our hands back up. Coming back into down dog or child's pose again. From here, we're going to get ready to lay on our stomach. So I want us to come forward into plank. We can be in high plank or modified with our knees on the ground as we lower slowly that chaturanga. Now, straightening out your feet, let's come up into cobra. Relax your shoulders, lengthen your neck. Slowly lower our body down to the floor. Bring those arms straight in front of us. We're coming into our knot. Now with our knot, we'll start with half knot and then move into full knot if you want to. Bringing that right arm underneath the left, lay into that right shoulder. Now we try to have the arm perpendicular to the body. I know that that can sometimes be tricky. So you can stay here, or you can join me in full knot, bringing that left arm across as well. Trying to draw a straight line as we tie the knot right under our chest, and then try to let your chin or your forehead come down towards the ground. Stretching through the backs of the shoulders into those arms. Now slowly we'll release the arms, bring them forward into that Superman pose again, and just take a breath. If you had to fidget, if your body moved or switched, just bring it back to center, and we'll get ready to repeat that with the left side first. Drawing that left arm underneath your right shoulder. You can lay into that left ear. And now if you're wondering what to do with your hand, you should have the palm facing up towards the ceiling. I like to think that we could always catch raindrops, or if someone were walking around the room, we were all doing yoga in the same space, and they were to put like a little piece of treasure or a piece of candy in our hand, you would have it open and ready. Now let's also bring the knot into full if you'd like, so you can bring the right arm across as well. Just relax that head. You might notice too that the right side is different from the left side. Now release both arms forward into Superman. Again, I want you just to relax for a moment. We'll get ready to stretch the thighs, working into bow. So we'll start by taking both hands underneath our shoulders. Just like not, you could do half only. I'll also do full. So what I mean by that is half would be right side only, whereas full would be both. So if you want to just grab the right ankle to start, that's okay. If you're ready to do both, you can grab both ankles at the same time. Squeeze your belly, flex your feet, try to get those heels up to the ceiling, and now press ourselves up. So the sensation is that you're pulling your ankles away from your hands, which helps stretch through the chest. If you're holding both, you might notice that you rock a little bit just because you're breathing and your belly's pressing into the floor. Now, if you're doing just half and you've got right leg up, lower that leg down and lift your left leg only. We're going to hold this for a few more breaths. Now with your bow, the knot into the bow tie that we just tied in knot, you might be feeling very tied up yourself. Let's just take one more big inhale. And now everyone exhale, lower down together. Hands under shoulders, cobra stretch, lift up. And we'll do one more stretch, laying on our stomach. We'll get ready for our scorpion. Slowly lowering ourselves onto the stomach with the arms coming out into the T, just like spinal twist at the beginning with the palms down, but now we'll do it on the stomach. So we'll take that right knee bent. You can do both knees if you'd prefer. Right hand under your shoulder and roll over that left arm. Now, you might be feeling really tight, so maybe today you kind of keep it more reserved, or you might be able to get both feet on the ground, the knees up to the ceiling. Slowly come onto the stomach, both arms out. Make sure you're happy with your starting position. We'll do the left side, so you can bend the left knee or both knees, left hand under the shoulder, and then roll over that right side. And laying on our stomach, both hands underneath the shoulders, one more cobra stretch. Nice and long, see how high you can lift up. And then press back into child's pose. Oh, big, long stretch here. Notice how much smaller you can be, how much longer your arms and your back might feel. And we'll slowly lift ourselves up through table, sweep the legs around, all the way into that staff pose. As promised, we're going to do another forward fold. We've lengthened ourselves out. So from staff, I want you just to see how tall you can sit. Very good. Okay, inhale, big reach up. Now exhale, reach forward over your feet, long, 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 long. And then when there's nowhere else to go, we can release our hands and drop our head. Now you might be feeling like your hands have reached a little bit further forward. Maybe your back is slightly more bent, or your stomach is closer to your legs. It might be a lot, it might be a little. Let's see if we can relax for our last 2 breaths here. Now slowly roll that up. Good, I want us to take our legs out into a straddle position. We'll go through one more side bend, just like mermaid that we did at the beginning, but now we're going to do our side stretch, which is called revolve head to big toe. So we take our hands, knuckles to the inside of the leg. We're going to lift the left arm nice and high to the ceiling as we reach our right hand towards our big toe. Now you can take your fingers and link them around your big toe if you have that space, or you can just keep the hand resting towards the inside of the leg. What I want us to pay attention to is if this left shoulder has just collapsed. Let's work on that posturing again. Keep the left shoulder open. You can look forward or maybe even up to your hand. Feeling a nice big stretch to that whole left side. Now big inhale, lift up. Let's go the other way. Exhale. Keeping both sides of our hips on the ground. Heels on the floor, toes to the ceiling. Know where your hands are, opening up through the shoulders. Big side stretch. Feels so good to lengthen again, doesn't it? All right, big inhale, lift tall. Now with both hands in the middle, just set them on the floor in front of you. Again, I want you to keep your legs in this position, heels on the ground, toes to the ceiling. We're going to go for a walk. It might be a short walk, might be a long walk. You might want to balance your head on your fist. I want us to really try to slow our breathing here. Pay attention to any stretch happening through our inner thighs up into the groin area. One more big inhale. And release that, slowly walking back in. Shake, shake, shake those legs out. And then just sit comfortably. Whether you keep your legs in staff or bring them into some version of lotus or cross-legged position so that we can stretch through those tight shoulder and neck muscles. I just want you to sit up nice and tall. You can have your hands just on your knees for now. Let's take our right ear over towards our right shoulder and we can press, oh, that is tight. Press our left arm away. Now I really fan my fingers out. I find it really helps me. And you might need to play with your chin too, the angle that you have your neck. All right, coming up through the middle, let's do the other side. Duck that left ear over, and then we can push the right arm away. Good, and again, if you need to play with the position of your chin or where you're holding your head, that might help depending on which muscle in your neck and shoulders that you need to stretch. Good, lifting up. Take a couple shoulder rolls. Oh, tight, tight, tight. Now we're going to go through our meditation. Laying on your back to finish the class, I'm going to put my socks on because my feet are cold. And I want us to be comfortable. So if you've got your throw blankets or your sweaters and you want to lay there, we'll just do about a minute of meditation. Really important, however, that we're very comfortable. Okay, wonderful. So as you get yourself comfortable in terms of clothing or temperature, I want you to lay down all the way onto your backs into Shavasana so that we can end our practice the same way we started it together today. In Shavasana with those shoulders on the ground, arms down by our sides. Now, if anyone prefers to do this sitting up, that's fine. I just want to make sure that you're sitting in a good tall posture so that you can breathe. If you haven't already closed your eyes, I encourage you to close your eyes, relax your eyebrows. You might be all furrowed through the forehead. I want you just to relax the eyebrows, soften through the jaw. If you're clenched with your teeth, just relax your jaw. Let's breathe in and out through our nose. And as we lay here, I want you to notice that your hands and your feet, they've just fallen open. We've relaxed through the abdominal muscles and the stomach area is nice and soft again. So that as we take our big breath in, our belly rises up to the ceiling. And then as we breathe out, we melt down into the mat. Slowly working through our breathing, feeling nice and relaxed. And as we lay here in our final relaxation, I want all of you just to thank yourself for taking the time out of your day to work on this recovery, your rest, your stretching, and even more just to check in and see how your body feels today. We know that when we spend time breathing and focusing on our breathing, it helps clear the clutter out of our brain, which helps us with things like being more creative, being more kind to our friends and family or the stranger. It helps us also be a little bit more relaxed and calm, so maybe we're not so quick to anger or be stressed. So thank you so much, everyone, for working through this. And after stretching our muscles, we'll be able to return to our busy day or our busy workout the next time stronger and fitter and healthier than ever, because we've taken the time to let our muscles recover from what we've been doing today and this week. And as you think about all of that, let's go ahead and just start to wiggle through our fingers and toes. Maybe roll those ankles and wrists in little circles. If it feels good, you can take that big morning time stretch again, reach those arms up over our head. Oh, maybe take some sighs, that big inhale, and then just sigh it out. Let's grab those knees into our chest, give that big hug, maybe get really tight, really small. And then whether you roll over onto one side and lay in baby, or if you rock and roll all the way up to sitting, let's all make our way up into that seated position so that we can say our final goodbye together. And I know I've said it today, but I can't stress enough. I am so grateful for all of you. Thank you for making my yoga class even better because of all of you being here today. All right, everybody, ready? Let's take a big inhale, hands up to prayer. Exhale, coming down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.